So I've basically been watching a lot of Hailey Jane ASMR and ASMR Fleurs book content, and I think it's just by watching their videos it's kind of encouraged me or persuaded me to buy more books, especially when they're like speak so highly of them. So I've really been enjoying their videos, and I've been watching a lot of book videos, ASMR content on YouTube, so I'm always like now looking out for books, and I've even got some that I I'm not so critical of books. If I enjoy a book, I enjoy it because, you know, I want to pick it up and read it, and I want to continue reading it and find out what happens. That's a sign that I'm enjoying a book. But, you know, if I get bored and I don't really want to pick it up and read it, then that means I'm not really enjoying it. But it's that simple for me. I'm not like, oh my god, this book was so badly written and blah blah blah, and relax and read this. Okay. I think that was by Marta Kaufman, who was the co-creator of Friends. Yeah. This is, yeah, I actually want to read this again. So I've done the audiobook, now I actually want to read the book. But, yeah, I just think it's so very eye-opening. But I loved it. Loved this book. See if I can do some triggers, because I think I'm talking too much and not. The hardback covers actually sound quite nice to tap on. Okay, and then next, I think after this book, I took this one on holiday. This was the next one I read, and this is the sequel to It Ends With Us. So, this is It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. And I would say, I've not been telling you how many pages the books are, but this one was a fairly quick read as well. About 320 pages or something like that. It's very similar to the length of the last one. Again, very easy to follow, easy to read. The text isn't like small or anything, just a pretty average sized book. And yeah, again, I really enjoy this. I think I might have actually preferred this one over that one. I think I preferred this book. Or did I? Or did I? So this book is basically the main character. So she doesn't. Okay, I don't want to give it away. So I don't really know how to explain this one without kind of giving it away from the first book. So I'm just gonna read the blurb again. Oh, it's gonna give it away anyway. So Lily and Riley have just settled into a civil co-parenting rhythm with their daughter Emerson when Lily suddenly runs into Atlas nearly 2 years after they last it's a romance novel as well, and it kind of just follows the two characters and their journey throughout high school and then going into college and stuff, and how they kind of reconnect. I think, if I'm explaining that correctly, and how their relationship happens, how they kind of fall into it, because and how like they're both from very different backgrounds, classes, different kind of status, and just how they kind of connect with each other. I thought it was a really nice book, and it was written really well. I would actually probably read that book again, but I borrowed that from a family member, so I don't have it anymore. I gave it back. But yeah, I really enjoyed that book. I think that's actually made into a BBC TV series. Yeah, but I haven't watched it. Okay, so the book that I had read on the Kindle after Normal People was called 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini, I think. This was quite different from the other books. I'm just gonna read here, it's probably the best thing to do. So it's a tale about two young women, an illegitimate child and an orphan, and the difficult lives they led after marrying the same man. Genre is domestic fiction, and this is by the same author who wrote The Kite Runner, which I haven't read. I've got that on the Kindle as well, so I want to read that. In my opinion, I really had to kind of make myself read this book. I wanted a book. I basically asked someone to recommend a book that would make me cry. I don't know, I just wanted a book that's that emotional and intense, and one that I could really get involved in. They recommended this book, and it was really good. It was really good, but it was a bit of a slower book for me. I didn't read it as fast because I couldn't really grip my attention on it for too long at once, but I did enjoy it. Maybe it was a bit slower at the beginning, and I think it basically, I think it gives, again, this tells the story from both perspectives of the two young women, but yeah, it is a good book. I do want to read The Kite Runner, but I think for that one, it's definitely a book that you have to read a bit slower and really pay attention to. It's not like a quick and easy breezy read, if that makes sense. Another book that I had bought, based on Lottie Love's ASMR's recommendation, is called The Housemaid, which you have probably seen featured in one of my previous videos. And I have read it. I have given that to someone to borrow because they wanted to read it. So I don't actually have the book with me now, and I kind of wish I did, but it's okay. I'll just tap on the next one I'm gonna show. But yeah, so The Housemaid is a thriller. I think I basically bought that book because Lottie Loves ASMR basically said that she couldn't put the book down and she stayed up to read it, and then I was like, I need a book like that, like I want a book like that. And then after I bought it, I started seeing more people talk about the book. I personally really liked it. I really enjoyed it. It was one, again, that was really easy to follow, quick to read, so I read that in like 3 days or something. At one point I even sat and got a good chunk of that read, and I was even surprised them in my wish list just to keep an eye and see when they go on sale, and then I'll buy them. Okay, so the next book that I wanted to show is Heartless by Elsie Silver. And this book, and I've got another book from the series. There's 4 or 5 books in this series, and I haven't read them in order. I don't even have the first one. I think this might be the second or the third book. Now, I bought these books based on Hailey Jane ASMR and ASMR Fleur's recommendations. Hailey Jane loves these books, and I think the way she was describing it really made me want to buy them. And these weren't that expensive on Amazon anyway, so I bought them. And these are romance novels with a bit of spice in them as well. So I keep saying them, so I'll just show you the other one. But I also bought Reckless. I haven't actually read this one yet. I have just finished this one. So, it says here, my contract is for 2 months, but my heart says this is forever. I'll read the back. Working as a nanny for the world's grumpiest single dad should have been simple, except I can't keep my eyes off him, and he can't keep his hands off me. Cade Eaton is 13 years older than me and barely looks my way, until I get him in the hot tub for a game of truth or dare. Then all bets are off, and so are our clothes. He's gruff, a little rough around the edges, but it turns out broad-shouldered ranchers with filthy mouths are the city girls' kryptonite, so who am I to resist? And when he softens in our quiet moments together, I start to realise his hardened exterior is just a facade. Someone once convinced him that the best wasn't good enough, yet I've never felt more cherished than I do in his arms. My contract may say this arrangement is only for 2 months, but my heart says this is forever. Sorry, that may have been really fast. But yeah, it's a romance novel about a single dad and a younger nanny. There's an age gap. But it's actually kind of cute, and I did really enjoy it. I got through this pretty quickly as well. Yeah, it's a good book. Really enjoyable. I did really like it. It was cute, actually, I'm not gonna lie, it was a cute story. And I like books like this that are just easy. The language is really easy to follow, easy to read. And the reason I'm saying this is because another book that I don't physically have with me, but I featured this in an ASMR video, is called To Kill a Mockingbird, which I think that's more of like is it crime, drama, novel? Is that the genre? But is it by Lee Harper? I can't even remember now, the author. I remember Harper. But, yeah, I really wanted to get into that book because, again, I've seen a lot of people talk about it, but I just really couldn't get into that book. And I didn't think it was easy to follow. I kept feeling like I really need to slow down and pay attention to this, and if I have to do that with a book, then I feel like I'm gonna get bored, and then my attention won't stay there. I think I read about 60 pages, 50, 60 pages, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna give up because I don't want to waste my time reading a book that I know I'm not really going to be interested in just for the sake of finishing it. I've borrowed it from Kelsey Silver. And, oh, I think I forgot to mention, this is part of the Chestnut Springs series. And it's like a small, I'm describing this the way, like, I've heard ASMR Fleur and Hailey Jean describe it, but it's, like a small town cowboy romance. Is that right? Yeah. Oh my god, this book feels so nice. Brand new. Brand new book. Okay, so yeah, these books have a bit of spice in them. So, Theo Silva, rowdy Bill Rider, notorious ladies man, scorching hot, trouble wrapped up in a drill-worthy package. And he's looking at me like I might be his next